This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/Run, Eat, Drink podcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we thank you for your support.
Hello, this is Marco Cesero, and welcome to Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country, and after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 124 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Aimee.
And I am, of course, your co-host, Dana.
You know, I'm so happy that we had Marco Cesero introduce our show today because I need some of his positivity. If you ever look at his social media, Marathon Marco, oh, it is so positive. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, he will post videos of his training. He will post little motivational sayings. He will post stories, videos of people overcoming incredible feats and accomplishing goals. And just, I needed that.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Marco, he is the world record holder for double amputees in the marathon.
Yes, in that marathon distance. And he set it in Chicago, I think, or in Boston, and then broke it at another major race.
Such an overachiever.
Yeah. Like, did it in Boston and then broke it again in Chicago. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
But my favorite footage of him would happen to be the footage from the Princess, which was the last Run Disney race that they held this year in 2020. I loved that he did the half marathon there. I wish we had been there. And I think he is just so open and positive, because I think he talked about falling twice and then danced across the finish line.
Yes, and that's I think one of my favorite. I saw some footage and I saw a photo.
Yeah,
great photo of that, and just the look on his face when he's out there and when he's talking to people and everything. He is living his message.
Yeah.
And it's just great to meet somebody like that. And we were very fortunate to get to meet him in the Anchorage Run Fest
last year almost at this time.
Yeah.
And just so lucky to be with him, and also to be with Bart Yasso at that event and see Bart Yasso as we crossed the finish line of the Anchorage Run Fest half marathon.
Yes.
Because he was on Jeff Galloway's town hall this past week on YouTube.
I wish I would have gotten to see that.
Throwing over some positivity and race tips and stories. And I just finished Bart's book. Can't wait for Marco's book. I have, and any other recommendations of running books that I need to read, send them our way. info@runeatdrink.net. Because, I mean, these three men inspire me all the time, every day. And I needed that. And you'll see why as we talk about some training and race updates this week.
Yes.
As well as some news in the running world. And I like that we had Marco introduce us, because he talked about some of his favorite pre-race meals to kind of nourish him and celebrate his heritage. And I like that we are going to be talking about a recipe that is from kind of our cookbook Bible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something that nourishes us in the running and training process.
Yeah. His dish had this that he was talking about. I remember had kale in it, as I recall. This dish we're going to be talking about is going to give us a little bit of a taste of India. this week. And we are going back to the Healthspan Solution. And we're not only going to talk about the recipe, we're going to give you guys some tips and tricks how to do this as a very quick one-pot wonder. We're also going to talk about how to make it if you are not wanting to go vegan, and give you some options there. And we have an amazing beer this week that is, let me rephrase that. We have a beer that is unique. I really liked it. Some people may not think it's as amazing, but it's so unique, so different. I think it absolutely bears talking about on the show.
Indeed.
From a local brewery here in Southwest Florida called Millennial Brewing. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've got in store for you guys this week. Let's talk training. Let's talk running.
Yeah, let's get into the running part of our show.
Because, and I am with you, I definitely could have used some of his positivity this week, because training was just brutal with weather, and we've been dodging lightning storms because, again, it's summertime in Florida, and our heat and humidity has been consistent. Feels like temperatures of over 100 degrees for most of the day.
Yeah,
so if you didn't get out and knock it out early, or try to do it late in the afternoon, maybe after the storms, you were just going to have to pound it out. And I had I did a couple of walks at work with my coworker, who I'm trying to be their accountability buddy. Yeah. And a couple of my training runs were brutal. I absolutely, the only days I could run were non-work days. I wasn't getting up early. I was actually working on trying to get a little more sleep in my off time.
Yeah. Because rest is part of training.
Well, not only that, since you got me the Garmin, Aimee got me a Garmin Fenix 6X. I've been using it to track sleep and do some of the things that the Apple Watch just doesn't do and isn't made for. And, noticing that, hey, it would probably do you some good to get some rest. So I've actually been focusing on my off days, trying to get a little more sleep. But that meant that I wasn't beating the sun to get those runs done. And I was out pounding it out in the heat.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And you, even your walking, running segments at work, I mean, the time that you get to do them, it's 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, but by then it's just a scorcher in terms of humidity.
Yeah, we're usually hitting it by about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we go for about an hour. So that's 8:30, 9 o'clock by the time we're done. The sun's up by then really well. It's just very humid, and the area that work is in for me has a lot of navigable canals in the area, so you have a lot of steam coming up off of the canals, and it's just it's moist.
Yes. Last week for me, it was I did running short ones on Monday and Wednesday, and I got out there on Friday for an extra run just to kind of play with some 555s, or it ended up being that because I decided I need to let the foot rest. I don't want to go on and finish the 9.5 that I normally would after playing with some 555s and seeing if I could get my walk to that 16-minute per mile pace. And that if I could improve my walk, I think I slowed down my walk too much.
Yes.
And so I'm working on that with those 555s.
Yeah.
And at 5 seconds walking or 5 seconds running and 55 seconds walking. So, and I know that's not a lot of running, but it's helping me, I think, work on my cadence in my walk.
And that is something we've talked about that over the years. If you slow down to, a 20-minute a mile walk, then you've really got to pick it up during your run
intervals
segment
to make up time. And I don't want to do that. I want to train like I need to.
Right.
And so that's what I've been working on. But after that, I was like, I thought I was going to go finish the 9.5, but no, I need to rest the foot. And I meant to do it on Saturday, and I meant to do it on Sunday, and just missed the mark. Didn't wake up early enough, and it was just torture by the time I woke up wasn't really getting good sleep. And I needed a little bit of extra motivation, and waiting until your day off to get it done, and having you be kind of my accountability buddy, as you call it.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me a lot, because the motivation to run in this kind of humidity is lower.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So
it's even lower for the dogs.
I mean,
they didn't even want to go. They're
poor
like,
babies.
We'll just stay in here and lay on the tile.
Those poor babies. Well, it was overcast early on in our run when we did our long one.
For the long run, yeah. And in fact, as we're recording
this, it was okay for their little paws.
Yes, as we're recording this, we actually normally record on Mondays. We are actually recording this on Tuesday and dropping it same day. We did let everybody know yesterday that the episode would be a little late getting out.
Yeah.
We just got in from our long run. So we're just coming off of the long run.
It was just, the motivation was a challenge this weekend.
And I have weeks like that. I understand.
I just think I probably need to go back and listen to Marco's episode with us, and to Jeff Galloway's episode with us from a few weeks ago about running in the heat, that as motivation.
Yeah.
And I just, they were just challenges for me.
Well, I got back to doing the 20/40s during my short runs this week, 20 seconds running, 40 seconds walking, and those kicked my butt.
Yeah?
Yeah. Those,
in this heat and humidity.
Because, again, I was doing it basically 11 o'clock in the morning to noon. And, that was pretty brutal. And, when I got in from that, I was just smoked. And again, it doesn't sound like a lot, but, again, with the 105 heat index and just no evaporation, that was what was just getting to me.
Or like you mentioned, the water around the places where you walk at work, but I think in the ditches after the rain.
Yeah, we get a lot of that here.
We'll get characteristic rain overnight. We did through a lot of the weekend, or the afternoon rain, and then the carryover in the morning is just the steam coming from those ditches and from the pavement that was wet.
Yeah. And it was challenging this week too, because every time I get motivated to go do a run, I'm getting the ding on the phone about lightning in the area.
Lightning in the area. Yeah, and it's so dangerous.
So dangerous. We avoid that, but we got them done.
We did.
We got the long run done.
We persevered and we got it done. Maybe not over the weekend exactly, but we got it done within a reasonable window. So now we can stay on track with maintenance runs this week.
Yes.
So it's good. I can do them, what's tomorrow? Wednesday. Like Wednesday and Friday.
You do Wednesday, Friday.
And then 3 miles this weekend will be like a no-brainer, because we'll be in the parks.
Yeah, and we are going...
In the parks.
Yeah, we are going to be doing a little bit of traveling this week.
We are so excited.
So there's a little update.
Yeah. So the first, we can talk about the bad news.
Okay.
Right. This week, I posted in the Runcation Nation group over on Facebook that another one bites the dust, which is a reference to a wonderful 80s song. And I had the 45 record. Just date myself and age myself all over the place. But yes, another one bit the dust this week in terms of the Run Disney Wine and Dine half marathon weekend going virtual.
Yeah, not a real big surprise. This was a Disney race that was sold to full capacity prior to
the beginning of March.
Yeah, prior to all of the big lockdowns that were starting to happen and the event cancellations. Yeah. So it didn't really surprise me to see it.
Yeah.
But the official word finally came.
Well, we were disappointed at the beginning of March because we didn't get in.
Yes.
We tried. You tried. Well, I was at work and I tried during work on the sly. You tried at home. It was impossible to get in because of the villains theme being so popular.
Right.
So and then it's gone virtual. So, and I guess the rumor or the information I'm getting online is it's still costs the same amount of money.
That is my understanding in talking to a coworker who opted for the virtual. There is no discount, and her exact phrase to me was, "It's the most expensive virtual race I've ever done."
Yeah. So, I would guess that people are going to decide whether to get their refund or whether to go virtual, and then maybe some other virtual slots they'll try and sell. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know how that's going to work, given
I don't know
that
either.
they probably are going to only sell the number of slots they have merch for.
Yeah.
And I doubt that they're going to be making more merch.
Right.
That's my guess.
The ones that requested the refund.
Right.
Yeah. So that was disappointing, and that has me afeared for the remainder of 2020, even into 2021.
Yeah, we've already had one race for 2021 already go virtual, and that's the Donna.
Mm-hmm.
The prevailing theory is that Disney did not sell Marathon Weekend to its normal capacity. They only sold a certain percentage of it, and that would enable them to do the social distancing and to do more staggered starts.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we'll see how that goes. I think it's probably a 50-50 shot at this point, whether it's going to occur.
Yeah. Some people were saying 70-30.
Yeah, I don't
30% chance of actually holding the race.
It's hard at this point because that's the biggest one that they normally have. Mm-hmm. And even at 25% capacity, I think you're talking something like 7,000, 8,000 people.
That's still incredibly challenging at the beginning of the race and the corrals. And I don't know. There are a lot of different touch points that you have to consider, and
transportation.
You're
talking a virtual impossibility to do social distancing if you're doing bus transportation.
It's tough.
You can't really do any kind of a pre-party. What do your corrals look like? So
post-party.
There's a lot to consider. So I think that if we're still doing all that stuff, these types of events are probably for the time being going to be, you're going to see more and more go virtual.
Yeah.
That's just my guess.
Yeah. So it's good that we have some virtuals that we have planned in August and in September and even in October and November.
Yes, we not only are we doing the Disney virtuals, we've also just taken delivery of a couple of other virtual races we're going to be bringing you guys. So we're going to show you some really awesome medals and shirts and races you can sign up for to do on your own wherever you want.
From several different virtual race sites that we really enjoy. One that offers a discount code, which is Virtual Pay Series.
Mm-hmm.
And then one from outstanding people that partner with amazing charities for the Avengers Assemble series.
Yeah.
Medal Chasers.
We do have a little Marvel problem. We did go back and sign up for an entire series of Avengers 5Ks.
Disney, Marvel, superhero, anything.
And then we got a couple of others too.
Yeah. And coffee also.
Yes.
I can't control myself.
Absolutely not.
But so we have some of those positive things on the horizon, and this weekend we have a wonderful, wonderful trip planned.
Yes, we are getting an opportunity to do a little bit of travel since
close to home.
The Disney parks have reopened with, there's like a big asterisk there when you say that. They've reopened kind of.
Yeah.
We're going to be traveling up this weekend, and we are going to be covering the Epcot Food and Wine Festival.
Like we would have covered at the Wine and Dine Half Marathon weekend.
Yeah, so we are going to be bringing you guys food from around the world.
Yeah.
And we're also going to give you a look at what the conditions are on the ground
Yeah.
in the happiest place on earth
Yeah.
during this time. To give you an idea, if you want to travel right now and you want to avail yourself of the opportunity to go to one of these parks, what's the experience going to be like for you? I think that a lot of people want to know.
A lot of people want to know. I think that the Be Our Guest podcast has been doing a great job of letting people know. It'll be great for us to chime in and weigh in with some firsthand experience as well.
Absolutely.
So that is kind of a cap on our running week with news, training updates. We hope that your training week finds you well and safe and training and really trying to hang in there with motivation and those healthy habits and those training habits, because as races go virtual, as training and as runcationing gets put on hold, we have to find new ways to motivate ourselves and challenge ourselves.
Yeah. So if you've got some suggestions or you've got something that you're doing, let us know. Shoot us an email over at info@runeatdrink.net. Tell us how you're staying motivated. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're running a virtual, tell us which race.
Because we got a recommendation from one of our newest Runcation Nation members. That's coming up, I believe, in September. We're doing that one. And more to come.
Yes.
Yes.
But now, since we've done our long run and we did it on an empty stomach.
Ooh. Well, I had a banana.
Okay, I did it on an empty stomach.
And coffee.
Okay,
Did you have coffee?
I did have coffee.
Yeah.
And I drank water while I was on the run. But lunch is coming up.
Yay.
And fortunately,
For lunch.
I cooked last night ahead.
You are a good man.
So I'm going to tell you guys.
Some might call you craft services.
Yes, I have been known to be called that. We, of course, a few weeks ago on the show, we interviewed Ray Cronise and Julieanna Hever, the authors of the Healthspan Solution.
Episodes 108 and 109 on runneatdrink.net if you're interested.
They were fantastic. They are the hosts of one of our favorite podcasts, the Science and Saucery podcast. And they really dig into the science of nutrition. And they come at it from kind of a plant-based perspective and
for health.
For health, yeah. What I really like about their approach is that they're not preachy. They're not condescending in any way. They are just, hey, here's what the studies are showing, and here's what we're recommending based on the science that we're seeing, and then the results that they have clients
and for your health.
And
Yeah, for the improvement of your health. And I'm so grateful to them that we discovered them through listening to Presto.
Yeah, that's Penn Jillette's book on how he lost 100 pounds.
How I made 100 pounds disappear. And I just, to those three, if I could speak to those three right here in this moment in time, I'm so grateful for that, because it has allowed us to train better in terms of running. It has also allowed us to eat better for our health and in a flavorful way.
Yeah. And for me personally, it allowed me to lose 70 pounds and to take 70 points off of my blood pressure. So that's a huge win for me. And my doctor said, keep doing what you're doing.
It warms my heart.
So the fact that we were able to go plant-based most of the time.
Yes,
again,
of course.
Well, like we tell everybody,
Day 7.
We call it day 7. Ray and Julieanna call it a rare and appropriate day. And we don't always do it on the 7th day. It's just, when we're having our rare and appropriate day. That's usually when we're doing stuff for the show.
Yeah.
So we cooked a number of items from this book, and we're cooking our way through it still.
We are. And I think, even though it's hot outside, I think it is still appropriate. And I just sometimes crave spicy and different flavors.
Oh, I think spicy food, some of the best times to eat really spicy food is when it's warm outside, because for me anyway, it kind of makes the heat after you're done eating it a little less impactful. That's just the way it works for me anyway. And
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, and yesterday, or as we were planning our menu for this week, what I cooked yesterday was an item from the Healthspan Solution called the Chana Masala. And what this is basically a very rich tomatoey stew.
Super thick.
With onion and tomato and chickpeas. And the spice blend is 6 different items of spices mixed in that give you this warming, flavorful, spicy, just amazing flavor profile, similar to a curry, but not exactly. I mean, you're talking things like coriander and cumin, which are both very warming, paprika, which gives you that great pop of red color, turmeric.
It's supposed to have outstanding health benefits.
Yeah.
Turmeric.
And then this is an opportunity in cooking food like this to learn new ingredients, and we had to go purchase a spice called garam masala,
which we've heard about on Food Network.
Yes,
actually,
and it tastes or smells. It evokes. It's very reminiscent of curry and cinnamon.
Yeah, I get a cinnamon, but not like a sweet cinnamon, like a warming cinnamon flavor.
And then a little bit of cayenne pepper. So you get this great spice blend. And then basically you're using, canned fire roasted tomatoes. You're using some garlic and ginger that you mince, throw in fresh. And then chickpeas is what they're using for the main protein. And their recipe gives you a great stovetop preparation for it, which is not hard. 20, 25 minutes, 10 minutes of prep, 25 minutes cooking. I cheated a little bit.
And I love that you did it.
Well, I'm a huge fan of these slow cooker / pressure cookers, like the Instant Pot.
Yes.
We have a couple of them here at the house. We use ours all the time. So basically, I took everything that they suggested that you do and simplified it. So, you could make your own chickpeas, but
sure.
We got canned chickpeas. Rinse those
really well.
The fire roasted tomatoes and chili peppers. I used. There's a version of Rotel, which is a canned diced tomato mix that a lot of people use for queso, homemade queso.
Right.
Great recipes out there for Rotel queso. But they have a version with fire roasted tomatoes that is just perfect for this dish. And
you can get a version of Rotel that is no salt added.
Yeah, they actually have a specific one that is not just low sodium, but it has no salt added at all, which takes your sodium down to like 1% of your daily value if that's something you're looking out for.
Yeah.
But basically adding all the ingredients into the Instant Pot, give it a good stir. Add the spice mix in, and then set it and let it go for I put it on low for 25 minutes because I wanted a firmer texture to the chickpeas.
Oh yeah, I like that.
If you wanted a little mushier, a little softer, you can actually increase that to medium or to high for that time, and that's going to soften up those chickpeas more.
Sure.
But this just creates this thick, rich, tomatoey stew with this warming spice that you serve. The recipe lets you serve it over brown rice, and you get about a half cup of brown rice in each serving, and the recipe makes 6 servings. Yeah. So we had 2 last night. We have 4 in the fridge. I'm having it for lunch today. And
so good.
It's going to be even better the next day, of course, because that gives that
spice
extra time for those spices to blend and mingle.
I really like it, and I think it's really, really hearty in terms of the chickpeas as the protein. And it on its own, that is enough. However, if you wanted an added protein bonus, or you wanted to sub for meat, then you could do either in the Instant Pot or in the crock pot just some shredded chicken.
Absolutely.
You know, or some diced chicken, whatever.
I was going to say, you could dice up chicken breast and either substitute it for the chickpeas or put it in with the chickpeas if you're wanting a meat dish. Like, you know, so you would have just this really fantastic, hearty, spicy chicken dish.
Yeah, but honestly, I was thinking as we were eating it that it's like, you know, that the chickpeas take the place of meat so well in terms of heartiness and filling, and the spices just give you such a satisfying flavor. It's not like you're missing anything.
No. And what I like about this dish is that you got that 6 spice mix that you create and you add in. There is cayenne pepper in there. Of course, that is one of the ways that you can regulate the amount of heat that you're getting, because that's the only hot item that you're really putting in there.
Well,
and then one of the fresh ingredients it calls for is your option of, they say 1 fresh hot pepper, like a serrano, a jalapeno, or a red chili cut into rounds. Now, peppers they're like snowflakes. They're all unique.
They're different. You never know what you're going to get.
You know, you can, some nights we can get jalapenos and you can eat that jalapeno and they're not too bad. Sometimes you get one that is just, it wanted to be a Scotch bonnet when it grew up. You know, it's a little extra hot.
It's the little engine that could light you on fire.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, you know, we opted to go with fresh jalapeno. But you can add whatever pepper you want, or choose not to add it and maybe just go with like a bell pepper.
Oh, sure.
Or a poblano, something that's not going to give you any heat, but it's going to give you some flavor.
Or you could do them and you could de-seed and devein them. Mm-hmm. So there could be different levels to the spiciness of this dish in terms of the fresh ingredients and in terms of how much cayenne you put in that spice mix, like you were talking about. But I would have this again. I loved it.
Yeah,
hearty.
This we prepped ahead and we did about 4 cups of brown rice, and we divvied it up into our to-go containers,
Tupperwares,
our Tupperware, and then spooned it into each one of those, plus the servings that we had last night.
Yeah.
This would also be great if you picked up some, whether it's tortillas or non-bread.
I was thinking that too.
And you could actually use this as a filling for a wrap. It would be fantastic.
Awesome.
Because it's so thick.
You could get some of those sprouted grain tortillas if you were wanting to keep with that. Or
So we're going to
dynamite.
We're going to link to the book in the show notes so that you can check this one out.
Indeed. Yes.
We'll have some photos of this recipe. Actually, check out the show notes or the episode artwork.
Yeah.
You're going to see that.
Yeah.
And for our patrons, you're going to see a little video of...
Yay.
Or I don't know if I call it video. It'll be a video format, but it'll be more of a
montage.
A photo montage with a little voiceover of me cooking this.
Yes. Sometimes we do videos of you actually cooking. And sometimes they are just montages to what you have done.
Yeah. So check that out over on Patreon. Patrons, that'll be in the feed very soon. And we think that you're going to love this meatless option, or you're going to love adding your favorite meat to this, making yourself something very flavorful.
Speaking of Patreon.
Yes.
Before we go on, we know that there are many ways that our audience has supported the show. You support the show just by listening to our show. It will always be free. It will always be on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. Listener Rob just recently purchased some apparel that we have in our store, provided by our friends over at Pure Creative Apparel. And some people just leave a review on Apple Podcasts, which helps us get discovered, and we cannot thank you enough for that.
Yes, we've had some very kind and heartfelt reviews lately.
We have.
With people exploring our back catalog to get a little bit of race recaps to kind of relive some races that are not going on right now. But some actually who have been at races with us, who see our shirts, speaking of Pure Creative Apparel, they say, we love what you do. We want you to keep on going. We know that traveling and runcationing can be expensive. How can we support you so that you can bring to us where we should accomplish, explore, and indulge for a long, long time?
So we headed over to Patreon and we set it up. We've introduced 3 levels of monthly support, $2, $5, or $10. And each of those levels have their own special perks. But like Aimee said, the show is always going to be free.
Indeed.
But if you're looking for a way to support the show and get a little something extra, if you want to see some more behind-the-scenes stuff, some bonus content or more, head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Or if you are a Podbean user, go to our main podcast page, click on the Become a Patron button. It has the exact same levels set up there for our Podbean users.
No different. And we just can't thank everyone. However you support the show, we can't thank you enough for supporting the Run Eat Drink podcast. Thirsty much?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And this is just going to be, I'm going to say it, this is the weirdest beer we've ever talked about on the show.
Okay, but before we talk about our local take on this, I do have to tell you, you found the picture and posted, and then I reposted in Runcation Nation. You posted about pickle ice cream, actually.
I did.
And then I posted about, what about Urban Artifact's pickled beer? And Urban Artifact is not around us.
No, they're not.
So we couldn't get our hands on it. And one of the members of our Runcation Nation was like, "Hey, where can I get it?" And so we linked to the Urban Artifact website, but I don't think they're distributing very widely. So we couldn't get it down here in Florida. It was just kind of, I don't know, like kismet.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say.
Happened to notice one day perusing social media.
Yes.
That our friends at Millennial Brewing
a month later
in Fort Myers produce La Picklabod Pickle Sour.
Millennial Brewing. And I really feel like we've done some lives last week, and we have highlighted some local breweries, brewing companies. They need our love right now in this time, in this current situation.
Yeah, it's going to vary from state to state, but many states have different laws pertaining to how business licensing or how breweries are treated according to business licensing. Here in Florida, a lot of breweries had to close. And those that didn't close were only open for to-go package
pickup,
sales,
delivery,
basically.
if they could.
Yeah, they were canning locally or doing crowlers or growler fills.
Whatever they could do.
To-go only, couldn't eat on premises. Many have had to get changes to their business licenses to become a restaurant and offer some sort of food in the tap room in order to open the tap room for on-site consumption. So it's been rough.
Yes, and then there was that time, very, very short time, that they could open up if they had a food truck on premises, and then they kind of stepped back from that. So we wanted to highlight some amazing breweries from around Florida, like Fort Myers Brewing Company that we talked about on the live last week. And then this week we talked about Millennial, and we brought home their pickle sour. And I have to tell you, I thought, you're never a fan of pickle, not of pickle, but of sours.
Very rarely. It's sours as a style for me. I'm just
nah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's not something I tend to gravitate towards. And there's a lot of reasons I should. They tend to be lighter in body. They tend to be lower in alcohol. You can get them in all sorts of flavor profiles. But it's that tartness that is so powerful for a lot of them anyway, that it just turns me off.
But this is different, I feel.
Yeah, this one surprised me. And, well, why in the world are we talking about a pickle beer? Well, first of all, pickle juice is something that is not entirely unknown to the running community.
Exactly.
There has been a long-standing rumor, maybe some science there, about pickle juice and its benefits to help runners with cramping.
Which would have helped me at the Tower of Terror 10-miler so long ago.
It would have, because of the high salt content and the other electrolytes in there, there's advantages to that. In fact, so much so you can now buy packets of pickle juice that you can throw in your running belt.
One of the last races that we went to, the Fort Lauderdale half, their expo, they actually had a booth of people who were marketing that.
Oh.
I can't remember what company it was. It escapes me right now. But I just remember that we saw that and we actually tried their stuff.
I now remember, now that
Do you
mention
remember
it,
this?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this beer, it looks like a lager.
Yeah, it's a nice
color, yellow,
pale to medium
like
golden yellow,
like a lighter beer.
Yeah,
looks like a lighter beer.
So it doesn't have any crazy green coloration going on with it. Light in body, moderate carbonation, and when you smell it, you get this light scent of dill.
I even missed it. I think your nose is better than mine, but I even missed it the first couple of times I smelled the beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Subtle.
So?
And dill tends to be a strong, when you use it, like when in that potato salad from the Healthspan Solution.
Well, it's one of those things where, a little goes a long way.
Strong. It's a strong flavor. Yeah. Strong scent.
So, when you talk about this beer, it's 5.5% ABV.
So it's not. It's sessionable.
It is, but it's a little higher in ABV than you normally see with a lot of sours.
Still sessionable. And we've talked about the color. I think you were right in that it is a subtle pickle flavor when you taste it, but it cries out for a burger, for a cheeseburger with a pickle.
Absolutely.
With dill pickle on it.
Yeah. I expected this because being a Goza, you often get saltier flavors in Gozas. And I expected it to be a little saltier. And I expected it to be...
And this is a Goza.
...stronger than it was in terms of the pickle flavor. So, I mean, basically in my mind, I was expecting basically a carbonated alcoholic...
pickle juice.
Pickle juice.
That's what I thought.
Right. And...
we were getting... I was like, are we going to have this look on our face, the pucker factor? Oh.
And honestly, it wasn't that. It was light, effervescent. It had a hint of the pickle.
Yeah.
It had a touch of the salinity, but not. We've had salted Gozas before,
where you can really tell. It's very present.
Very present. This was very subtle. I think that they were very smart to not lean too heavily into this.
Exactly.
Where it was going to be offensive. Or become a novelty beer.
Yeah. I don't know about that first one that inspired us, how sour or how pickly that was, but I would have this again.
Yeah, I would too.
It would be a great post-race celebratory beer with a nice burger and some salty fries.
Yeah, I would love to get something like this, maybe with a burger from Post Tavern up in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
Or, here locally in Southwest Florida, go over to Nevermind.
Nevermind or Leany Burger?
Leany Burger would be a great option. Something with a nice big fatty patty, very juicy.
Or that burger that you got at the Fort Lauderdale Half at American Icon.
American Icon,
yes. Brewing company or brewery.
Our friends at American Icon might want to look at a pickle goza.
I'm thinking of all the places where we've been where I would just love to enjoy a beer and a burger.
Yeah, and there's just something about, that dill pickle flavor that, it goes well with certain things. And I think that a burger, sliders would be a great option.
Yeah.
This would also go really well with, like a Nashville hot chicken.
Ooh, yeah. Because that's typically topped with pickles, no?
Typically.
Yeah.
So, something where where that flavor would complement the entree. This would be great. It's not as salty as you'd expect. It's not as tart as you would expect. It does give you that pickle flavor. The lightness of the body and the fact that it doesn't have this punch you in the face tartness makes it much more drinkable than you would expect.
It's very drinkable. I would have it again. I really think we ought to have it with a nice big unctuous burger.
I might find my way to Millennial Brewing later today and pick up some more, because they are actually now offering this not only on tap but also in cans.
And what I like about Millennial, while we're bragging on local, is that they have a very wide range of delivery, much like Narrative Coffee Roasters.
Yes.
That is still delivering.
Yeah, they are doing actual beer delivery here in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
Which is great. They also have a great space. Millennial is located just
huge.
It's in downtown Fort Myers. They got into kind of an industrial building over there a few years ago. They converted the interior space. It's great. They were one of the first breweries we ever saw here in Southwest Florida to do like a family day.
Yeah.
And they would have food trucks and then bounce houses for kids. And you'd have parents come there and their kids could go play
type stuff.
They'd do a little farmer's market, flea market type thing, get food, get a flight, and then just kind of make an afternoon of it.
Yeah. So we wanted to show them some love. Thank you for introducing us to a pickle sour that Dana actually likes. To a sour that you like.
It's a rare day.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's not that I'm against the idea of a sour. It's just finding the right balance for me. Like some sours really go hard on the tartness.
You could say that about any style of beer, because if any style of beer lays too heavily on one side of its ingredients, then it may lose and I know that some are hop balanced, some are malt balanced. I just think you gotta find the right combination for the flavors.
Yes.
And and this could easily be on the overwhelming side, but it's not.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Well done, Millennial.
Yes, indeed.
And love your artwork and mural by our friend Brian Hicks.
Yes.
Love it.
Nice nod to
great
80s
area.
science fiction on their big back wall there.
Yeah.
So check them out. We'll have a link to their website in the show notes.
Absolutely.
And when you're down here in Southwest Florida, you now have another place you must go and check out.
Yes. And in Florida next week, we will certainly be bringing you a virtual 5K. And even if it's not themed, because I know we're kind of saving a couple there for September and August, October, and in August we still have the Run Disney ones to complete.
Yes.
So next week we'll bring you a virtual 5K of some sort, and some fantastic offerings from the 2020 Food and Wine Festival at Epcot. We will find them because, you know, we only bring you positivity on the show.
Yeah, we're going to eat our way around the world, and only the best of the best is going to make it onto the show.
Yep, and we will bring it to you. So stay tuned for that.
Yes. So we want to, as we start to wrap up, we want to thank our newest founder on Patreon, Megan Brower.
And she shares, and she is also running through Neverland on Instagram.
Yes.
And we found that out on our live last night. I'm so happy that we did. So she shares our love of Run Disney. And I can't tell you, I mean, anytime somebody pledges in Patreon, you are so tempted to take a photograph of me because I cry. But I teared up and I cried for good reason. She sent us the sweetest message about why she pledged to be a patron of the show, a founder of the show.
And her message says, I'm really happy to join your Patreon and support the work you both do. I'm so grateful for your podcasts because they speak to me on multiple levels. 1, love that you're a couple running together like my husband and I. 2, your message of inclusion to back-of-the-pack runners like me makes my heart smile. 3, our shared affinity for Run Disney. Your podcast has helped me conquer many challenging runs, and I'm so happy I could give back. Thank you for giving me so much inspiration.
And she sent us a picture of a quote from Winston Churchill that says, I'm going to butcher it now. Come on. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. So thank you for supporting our show, Megan. And we're so happy to have you as a founder on Patreon.
And if you love what you hear and you want to help us keep the lights on, you can become a patron and support the show. We have multiple patronage levels from $2 to $10, each with their own special perks. Find out more and support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast.
Or if you're a Podbean user, you can go to patron.podbean.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Or if you're in the Podbean player, there's a button at the top that says become a patron when you're on our page.
Yeah.
Listening to our show as we thank you for doing every week.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, or wherever you are.
I'm your host, Aimee.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay well, stay safe. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.